Two themes of Donald Trump's administration have really been sticking out lately. Incompetence, which is always the case, but intimidation. Intimidation is on the rise in Donald Trump's administration because he knows that he's losing every day in court. He's losing support. His agenda might not get through Congress. And so he has turned to intimidation to try to get through this illegal and immoral agenda of his. And of course, we see that with the aiding of Pam Bondi, who was breaking the law in her attempts to intimidate. And she just got called out for that by Adam Schiff in front of Congress. We're going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into Pam Bondi being called out by Senator Adam Schiff, I want to see her getting called out on Fox and what her response was.
If I could just finish off with this idea, very significant development that you're arresting judges now. Now, it could be that the judges have engaged in terribly bad behavior and deserve to be arrested. But you know what critics will say? They'll say, oh, this is a government that is expanding the powers of the Article 1 of the Constitution. Now they're arresting judges. How do you respond to that?
No one is above the law, John. No one is above the law in this country. And if you are destroying evidence, if you are obstructing justice, when you have victims sitting in a courtroom of domestic violence and you're escorting a criminal defendant out a back door, it will not be tolerated, and it is a crime in the United States of America. Doesn't matter who you are, you're going to be prosecuted.
Madam Attorney General, great to see you in the studio.
Great to see you.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Now, Pam Bondi at this point, as we unfortunately know, is on Fox so much I'm surprised they haven't given her her own show. Like, is she going to be replacing Judge Jeanine on the 5? Like, she is constantly on Fox News. Did you ever see Merrick Garland on MSNBC? No. Merrick Garland didn't even do his job of making sure Donald Trump was prosecuted for breaking the law. And now Pam Bondi is just appearing on the propaganda channels all the time. But that's one thing. The fact that they were willing to press her on the arresting of judges, the threats to arrest members of Congress. We see Alina Abba says she's going to be prosecuting anyone who appeared to do oversight at that ICE detention facility in Newark. This is insane, but it's a type of intimidation Donald Trump lied about President Biden engaging in that he very clearly is. And why? Because he knows it's the only way to carry out his agenda. He knows he has to make people scared. They're not hitting the numbers they want on deportation, so they're making this big show of things to cover for that at the same time as they try to make people afraid so they won't stand up to this illegal power grab. But we have to fight back. And of course, Senator Adam Schiff is doing that. He called out Pam Bondi in a brutal takedown, did it before Congress right here.
His observation that with so many of these nominees, our hope for how they will perform has been betrayed by the realization of how they've actually conducted themselves in office once confirmed. But I share some optimism about Mr. Seralta, based on what I've heard of him and his testimony, his experience. I would add to the challenges he will face that not only is it going to be necessary to continue to vigorously protect judges who are under greater threats than ever and their families, but it's also going to be more important than ever to make sure that court orders are given effect, which is a primary responsibility of the Marshal's Service, which brings me to two oversight investigation requests I want to make to add to Senator Booker's requests. The first goes right to the heart of the necessity of looking into the violation of court orders. We have another federal judge yesterday ruling that the Trump administration is violating court orders. This with the deportation flights to Sudan. The court finding this in direct violation of its order. I think it is also in direct violation of the Supreme Court's order. It may, in the case of the district court order, be a criminal contempt of that court. How often is this going to go on that the administration violates court orders after nominees come in here and promise, oh, it'll never come up, we'll never violate court order? How could you even ask or suggest such a thing? How long is this going to go on before we as the Judiciary Committee say something, do some oversight of this? If we're going to wait for the Supreme Court to act, they're probably never going to act. When it comes to standing up to the Trump administration, they are a total paper tiger. When these cases reach the Supreme Court, as they have already, the Supreme Court will look for every opportunity not to confront the administration, not to put the administration to the test of just saying to the Supreme Court, buzz off. We need to do oversight of the willful and deliberate decision to violate court orders in this country. Second, I would request an oversight hearing into the weaponization of Pam Bondi's Justice Department and the weaponization of their Office of Weaponization. Seeing in the first hand their unprecedented interference to dismiss the case against Eric Adams, a serious corruption case, and now seeing the flip side of that, the leaked report that their inquiry into or investigation of Andrew Cuomo. It could not be more obvious they are using the Justice Department as now an instrument of their political will. And with that, I've got to go vote, and I will yield back.
This is the exact type of overreach that MAGA said they feared and thus must maintain every single right that they think is afforded in the Second Amendment. There is no way we could stop 18-year-olds from purchasing semi-automatic weapons, thousands of rounds of ammo, because what if the government is tyrannical? Sure, we would save thousands of lives, stop a generation from enduring school shooting after school shooting, but MAGA said no. We have those rights. What if the government is tyrannical? It's pretty tyrannical right now. We're deporting citizens. We're arresting and jailing people without due process, shipping them to El Salvador. This feels like tyrannical stuff to me. We're having a military parade for the president on his birthday, and they don't seem to care. But why would they? These people have no core ethos. There is no guiding principle. They don't care about the law. Pam Bondi is the attorney general, and she's practicing insider trading with Donald Trump's meme stocks. You really think that's a person who cares about law and order? No. Adam Schiff actually was the one who called Pam Bondi out for that. He's been on a Pam Bondi tearing into Pam Bondi lately. Thank God for Adam Schiff. But it's not the only person we see going after Donald Trump's incompetent cabinet. We saw Congressman Mark McCann, who is someone I think needs to get a little bit more airtime in this Democratic Party. Just such a great messenger, calling out Linda McMahon for the way she's breaking the law within her department. You can take a look at that right here.
Did you fire the people or did Doge fire the people? I'm not completely clear on that.
Most of that restructuring happened under the acting.
Short term, did you fire or did Doge fire?
Well, I'm going to tell you who I fired.
I know, that's why I'm trying to get short term questions.
The
It's
short
one or
term
the
is-
other,
well,
right?
you're using our time.
Yeah.
So most of that was done before I came on board. However, the
Doge-
decisions in the department I run the department. Doge does not run the
Okay,
department.
so you didn't answer the question. Did you fire them or did Doge? It's real simple.
A good majority of that happened before I came on board.
Okay, and by a good majority, 2/3, 3/4?
Well, yes, I'd say.
Okay, fair. Okay. And how many times did you meet with Elon Musk
I've
about
met
firing?
with Mr. Musk probably 3 to 4 times now.
Okay,
Not including when I was on the transition committee and had several opportunities to speak with him.
sure. And then if I understand it right, on your Department of Education employee roster, you have right now at least is about 16 Doge employees. Is that correct right now, working with you?
I can get back to you to the exact number. I don't think it's that high. But we
Okay.
do have, they are employees. Those that we have are employees of the federal
And when
government.
you did their background checks to see how they're qualified about education, how many had undergraduate degrees and how many had graduate degrees in
I
education?
can get back to you on that.
Okay, so you don't know offhand.
No,
Did you ask that question?
no.
No, okay. Did you ask if any of them were teachers previously?
I did not interview those people that are part of the
Okay.
Doge group.
And did you ask if any of them worked in schools? Did you know if they were
Actually, I had a
asked?
conversation with one of them yesterday who did have a background in education, technology education, and had worked across several different aspects and was really schooling me a little bit on some of the AI things that we could bring in.
So one of them had a good background, good. Any of them work in universities that you know of prior?
I don't know.
Okay. Fair enough. So part of my concern is, I know yesterday there was this big splash, Elon Musk is stepping back. We call that horse hockey where I come from, right? We know it's not real. He's in the back closet. I understand you guys don't want his front and center, but he's still in the room, and he's still making a lot of these decisions. And that's the real problem that I have is, you've got a bunch of folks that he brought in that you've admitted you didn't hire, you don't know their backgrounds if they have anything in education, yet they're helping you fire half of your employees right now. And I'm really concerned about that. Do you know if any of them have requested or gained access to any sensitive data held by the department, including student loan borrower data?
Well, as government employees now, they have been vetted through the same process than any other government employee would. And so what access would be granted to other government employees, they have.
That's fine. And then do you know the number of people that you've had to reinstate of those fired?
It's about 74.
About 74. So how did that happen? Because, I've been an employer for 37 years. The dumbest thing I could possibly do is fire someone just to rehire them, right? Because you've given them no job security. It's like beyond stupid, right? Not saying that because you didn't do it. Clearly, it sounds like this is from Elon Musk. But how did that happen, that people got fired and no one thought of you might need them in your department?
Some of that did happen when I returned.
Okay.
Now, I was in the private sector. I have done restructuring in firms, and it's painful to do that.
Yeah. But
And
fire people
wait,
to rehire them?
well, here's the thing.
Like usually that's not a strategy.
When you are restructuring in a company, you hope that you're just cutting fat. Sometimes you cut a little in the muscle, and you realize it as you're continuing with your programs, and you can bring people back to do that.
Yeah.
So
Or
that's
you
what
can
we
plan
did.
ahead and not fire people to rehire them, right? That would be another strategy that I think is more often used. Would you agree?
Well, I'm saying that I have been on both sides of that coin, and I found them both to be effective.
Okay, interesting. We have a different perspective on that, but maybe the world of all-star wrestling is different than my world of business to business. You talked about, and I agree with you, about contracts enriching private contractors at public expense. Does Elon Musk have any contracts with the Department of Education?
First of all, I just
It's
need
a simple question,
well,
please.
not
This
that I
is
know
my
of.
time. I have 38 seconds, please,
Well,
Madam
I don't
Secretary.
know if he does or not.
You don't know if Elon Musk has any contracts in your department, and you've met with him multiple times?
Elon Musk doesn't have contracts in my department.
So Department of Education, there are no contracts with any Elon Musk company. That's what I'm asking.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. All right. You want to check a blue card real quick, or are you pretty sure of that?
I said not to my knowledge.
Okay.
If I find out differently, I'll be happy to get back to you.
All right. And just in the last few seconds I have, just real quick on private schools getting public dollars, just so you know, something like 3/4 of the students that wind up going into those schools already attend those schools, and they're getting tax money. So if we get rid of the Department of Education, should we put the private voucher program under Ways and Means because it's really more of a tax benefit than an education benefit?
Yes, it is, once again, no surprise that these people who support Donald Trump don't actually care about law and order. And so it is that much more important that we call them out. We're certainly going to be doing so on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. But until next time, I'll see you soon.